Hey, it's Lee, and I'm here with another food review. This is PC's wood-fired pepperoni pizza. Uh, I recently had the four cheese pizza from this brand, and it was actually really quite decent. So I'm looking forward to giving this a try. The specs on here are 375 grams. Um, it's kind of like a somewhat thin pizza, but not super thin. The crust still is a little bit elevated, just to give a little bit of an idea of what it looks like. But I will take it out of the wrapper shortly and show that. And then the instructions here are preheating the oven at 425 and bottom rack for 11 to 13 minutes. I did that last time, it came up perfect, so I'm just going to repeat exactly what I did with the four cheese pizza. All right, I'll be back shortly with a look at the pizza. Okay, so here's the pizza out of the wrapper. What are we seeing here? Same as the last pizza. Looks like this has plenty of sauce on it. Pretty good cheese coverage. Pepperoni is more or less evenly spread out. Nothing stands out as strange. This is exactly what I was hoping to see. The only thing I'll note is that the crust here is a little bit more charred than it was on my last pizza. So with the four cheese pizza, I didn't see any, well, not nearly this much char. Maybe I'm just misremembering it, but I don't feel like it was there. That's fine. This is cooking on the bottom rack, so it shouldn't get too much heat from the top. Should still stay pretty, like nicely cooked. Shouldn't burn this any further, I hope. Famous last words, maybe. So let's toss this in the oven and we'll see how it comes out. All right, pizza's out of the oven. Looks all right. Could have probably used a second under the broiler. There are some edge pieces of pepperoni that do have kind of like a little bit of crispiness on them, but the middle of the pizza does look a little kind of lacking in terms of browning. But I'm hungry, and I followed the instructions and might as well try it the way the instructions suggest. Let's cut into it. Hopefully it's the same as the last one where it's crispy, but it still cuts okay. By the way, I'm not this terrible at cutting pizza. It's just I'm reaching over my camera and I'm trying to be careful. You're supposed to like crack through a crust and do all that stuff. I always struggle. Just not a normal angle. All right, let's take a look under just in case. Yeah, looks all right. Okay, I'll give this a taste and I'll have a review shortly. I can't even speak apparently. Okay. All right, I've tried the pizza. I'm ready to give a review. This was, well, we'll start with the crust. The crust is really nice. That's the best part of this pizza, I think, at this point. Now that I've tried two different types, the crust really stands out as quite good. For a frozen pizza to be this crispy yet not like inedible, it's crispy, but it's not completely devoid of any moisture, so it's easy enough to chew through. So that's really nice. The sauce, yes, it has tomato flavor. It doesn't have any other flavors. It is not herbaceous at all. It has no spice. It's really kind of boring. The pepperoni on here, well, first of all, the cheese, I should say. I guess there's enough of it. I think it's just mozzarella. It's pretty plain. And then the pepperoni, fairly mild pepperoni. Nothing really stands out about it, but whatever. It is what it is. That's fine. In comparing this to the four cheese pizza, I'm really missing. There was a cheese on the four cheese pizza, and I forget what it was called, but it's essentially the equivalent of Pecorino Romano, which is kind of like a Parmesan-esque, drier, stronger cheese. Gives it a little tiny bit of funk. And I thought that was actually really nice on the cheese pizza. I kind of miss it on this pizza. If the pepperoni was better, this pizza would be absolutely fine, comparable. But I actually think this pizza is not quite as good as the four cheese pizza because it just doesn't have as much flavor because the pepperoni is a little boring and the cheese is just plain, I believe, just plain mozzarella. It doesn't have all that much flavor. So I think I gave the other pizza a 7 out of 10, which might have actually been low. I think in retrospect, I should have probably given it a 7.5. This is more like a 6.5 out of 10. Or, you know, I might round it up to 7 and say the other one should have been an 8. I just know that this one's not quite as good. I should really keep track of my scores a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a 7. Props, 5 on this side, 2 on this side, 7 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching.